6 years ago this week, back in 1994, one of the top hits in the USA was Linger. It's by an Irish band whose luck turned around when they changed their name from a bad pun into a tartly, tasty fruit. I'll have details and that top hit after this.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm David Perry for Casey Kasem on Casey's Top 40. Now we're up to Zombie, a hit that's a protest against terrorist violence, a song inspired by a terrible incident in Northern Ireland. It was about a year ago that the Irish band called the Cranberries was playing a series of shows in Northern Ireland, a land that's long been troubled by internal strife and terrorist bombings. Lead singer Dolores O'Riordan says while they were getting ready for a performance in Belfast, they heard a terrible rumble not far from the theater. A terrorist bomb had gone off in a car, a bomb that indiscriminately killed men, women, and children who were unlucky enough to be nearby. As you might expect, the experience affected the band deeply. They canceled their show that night, and as they tried to understand the violence that was happening all around them, a song started to take shape, the song that became Zombie. Dolores says it's about how women and children suffer the most in war. It's about the value of every human life, especially the lives of children, and how children should not be a part of political violence. Dolores goes on to say, quote, "We hope the song might make people reflect a bit on our society and what we've become. That war has been going on for centuries, but we're supposed to be getting more civilized," unquote. This week, that powerful song, born from a terrorist bombing, climbs 4 notches to number 20 on Casey's Top 40.
We're counting down now to Linger, a song singer Dolores O'Riordan co-wrote to help her get over her first boyfriend. She says she was still so in love with him, she couldn't stop crying. Details coming up.
Casey's Coast to Coast. Casey's Top 40.
Well, now we're up to Linger, a song singer Dolores O'Riordan co-wrote to help her get over her first boyfriend. Dolores is the lead singer of the Irish band called the Cranberries, and she also writes most of the group's songs. Like most songwriters, whenever she can, she draws from her own personal experiences. In the case of Linger, that experience comes from a broken heart. Dolores says her very first boyfriend was an Irish soldier. She loved him head over heels and thought they'd be together forever. Then he was shipped off overseas. And as time passed, his letters were less frequent and his emotions more and more distant. One day, the letter she had feared most arrived. The Irish soldier wrote that he had met someone else, and as far as he was concerned, their relationship was over. Dolores was crushed, and to help soothe the pain, she decided to put all of her hurt and disappointment into a song. She says that while she was writing it, her emotions were so intense that tears flowed from her eyes. She couldn't stop crying. And when she was done, she had not only helped heal her broken heart, she had written the song that has become her first big hit.
America's Top Hits.
This week back in 1994, one of the top hits in the USA was Linger by an Irish band whose lead singer got her start singing sorrowful ballads for pennies in rural pubs. Long before Dolores O'Riordan became the queen of Irish new wave music, she earned pocket change singing sad songs in the countryside around her hometown of Limerick. From her earliest days, Dolores could sing the sort of sentimental tunes that brings tears to Irish eyes. She says that as early as 8 years old, she'd boldly walk into pubs and raise her voice in a melancholy air. Then she'd pass the hat and walk away with whatever pennies the softly sobbing clientele would come up with. Years later, Dolores was singing this song that was one of the top hits in the USA this week back in 1994.
America's Top Hits.
6 years ago this week, back in 1994, one of the top hits in the USA was by an Irish band whose luck turned around when they changed their name from a bad pun into a tartly, tasty fruit. This group was born in Limerick, Ireland. At first, their name was a play on words. They called themselves the Cranberries Saw Us, as in the cranberry sauce, but spelled Saw Us, S-A-W-U-S. As singer Dolores O'Riordan admits these days, quote, "It was dumb, but that was the name they were saddled with until the group's original singer left. The remaining members dropped the Saw Us and turned into the Cranberries. Suddenly, they seemed more like a band than a novelty. And as the Cranberries, they began to develop a following who gave them one of the top hits in the USA 6 years ago this week. Here are the Cranberries from Ireland with Linger. From 6 years ago, that was one of the top hits in the USA. The Cranberries and Linger. I'm Kasem.
Casey counts them down.